Greetings, Kindred. I am voivodemekhet, and welcome back to our world of darkness and tapping the vein. With me is Silent Comedy. Say hello, Silent.
Hello.
And this is going to be fun. I love the Ravno. We're on Clan Ravno today, and
Yeah. Yeah.
this is probably one of the clans that's had the most changes in the world of darkness, like ever.
Yep.
At least
Yep.
culturally. So, what are
Well,
your
I mean,
first thoughts?
absolutely.
What are your first thoughts when we think about the Ravno?
Well, I've never played one.
Okay.
I think that at first glance in older editions, they had the same they kind of set shotgun with the Assamites of older editions with for me.
Mm.
In that I was interested in them, but they were so involved in the mortal culture that they were based off of that I didn't know how to play them.
Yeah.
Um, and I also didn't feel comfortable trying to portray a real culture that wasn't that was one that I don't know anything about,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Um,
before fifth edition, Ravno were problematic, like straight out
oh
problematic. They embodied so many awful stereotypes from the different cultures that they were tied up in. And
they embodied those stereotypes, but from my understanding, the narrative of it was is they were the reason for it.
yeah, and I kind of appreciated that personally. That it did seem like they were the reason for the stereotype, but it still kind of just brought the stereotype to
Yeah,
like
to
center stage.
into the public eye. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, now the Ravno are not associated with a specific culture. You can
correct.
still dig back into their heritage and look at like what happened like pre Week of Nightmares,
Right.
you know? But
Yeah.
since the Week of Nightmares, where almost all of the Ravno were completely wiped off the face of the planet thanks to the rise of Zapathasura, um, but now they're just like they're gaining in population. They're a
Hmm.
huge mix of variety of cultures, to the point where they're actually associated with lots of different trickster gods, which is a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I will say that was has been my favorite part
Hmm.
of the new take on Ravnos is that we see them more present. We see these trickster tropes
Hmm.
that are present in every culture, not just one culture.
Hmm.
And so they become not only does it open the doors for a multitude of concepts and a multitude of characters, but it also opens up just like the floodgates of inspiration for anybody who was interested in the themes of the Ravnos, but not necessarily interested or comfortable portraying the cultural ties of the Ravnos.
Yeah, where they're standing
Now they
now.
have the ability to right where they have the ability to they don't really have to have any cultural associations, or
Hmm.
if they want to they can embody Loki,
Hmm.
if they're like uh Nordic, if they're Coyote, if they're from say Native American,
Yep.
indigenous American descent. Spider, I believe, and forgive me for if I'm being ignorant, I believe Spider is African.
Well, if we're talking about like the trickster god Anansi, that would
Yeah.
be that would be African, which is
Yeah.
awesome. The fact that they
Okay.
have that in there. In fact, the Ravno have
Yeah.
like a little bonus with their animalism when it comes to
Hmm.
talking to animals that are directly related to trickster deities, such as ravens, foxes, coyotes, spiders, and monkeys. That's
Yes.
that's pretty cool. The fact that it reduces their difficulty against tests with those animals.
And did you say monkeys as well?
Monkeys, yeah.
I guess that would be like a playback on like Sun Wukong,
Well,
right? Oh.
Zapathasura, when he was fighting, if going into territory that they're pretty much just trying to like remove.
They're trying to generalize them to the theme of the trickster amongst all cultural
Yeah.
like stories.
Well, the monkey god was connected with Zapathasura. That's
Okay,
yeah.
that
That's
makes
that
more sense.
actually ties them into the whole like Cathayan Kindred of the East thing.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
I really like that personally. I think that fifth edition's direction of being like, no, the Cathians are also just Canaanites. They're just they have nothing to do with any of the rest of their
yeah.
kin, you know?
I've been using the whole concept of Kindred the East and Cathians and like all their different monikers as just what basically old white ignorant
Yes.
old white ignorant vampires like the classic Ventrue, the classic Toreador. Like they see an Asian vampire and they automatically go dangerous. But I've just been making them the same clans and everything as everybody else. It's just an ignorant label that pushes through, which actually makes my
Hmm.
players interaction with them a lot more interesting because they get to learn firsthand that oh, the elders are dumb.
Yeah.
You know,
This is all just
just because you've been around for several hundred
supernatural.
years doesn't mean you know what the hell you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. Oh, this guy. I mean, that goes back to a joke in the show you recently I've been talking about is Hunter the
Hunter the
Parenting
parenting.
by Alpha Boosta, and there's an audio log episode in there where the character Grimoline, who's like a bit she gets referred to as the simulacrum parody of the entire Japanese culture.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've been having good luck on my Kuei Jin research. And Marcus is like, my dad tells me literally nothing. And even he told me there are no special magic Asian vampires. So yeah, the idea that was always an idea to me was that it was just the uh the like supernaturally bigoted, ignorant
Yeah.
vampires of being like, oh, they're different, so or they believe something different, so therefore they are different.
Exactly.
And I mean,
Exactly. It's cultural.
ignorant.
It's like the difference between
Yeah.
Camarilla vampires and Ashira vampires. It's culture. They
Yep.
might have some different
Well,
names because the culture calls them different things. But yeah.
exactly. Well, I mean, the Ravnos are no stranger to cultural ignorance,
Oh no. Well, absolutely.
right?
They've been targeted like massively against like from everybody from all sides, and I think V5
Yeah.
kind of opens that up a little bit more. Like you've got some pretty cool concept and stuff that can go along with it. Now, another change to talk about when it comes to Ravno are their disciplines, which
Yeah.
I've gotten in some
I
pretty
love some of this.
heated conversations here.
I love a portion of this,
Okay.
and I loathe the other part.
And I loathe it. I
Loathe it.
loathe it. So
Um,
the Ravno
Go ahead.
disciplines
Yeah.
are
No, you go ahead first.
they're currently animalism, obfuscate, and presence, which Ravno have never had obfuscate and presence. Classically, they had animalism, fortitude, and chemistry or chemistry, depending on who you want to say. And that was because they were almost like a dark fey version of the Gangrel. They're like closely related to the Gangrel. There's like a massive clan rivalry that goes back to the Knights of the First City. But now they've got obfuscate and presence. What about that do you loathe?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say
I
the inner
loathe
gangrel in me
it.
is telling me to loathe it. My inner gangrel is telling me to correct you. Uh, and in the words of the V20 quote from Gangrel to
Uh
Ravnos,
huh.
if you say we're cousins again, you will meet my claws. Um, the part I love about this,
Uh,
obfuscate, makes perfect sense. It
I
makes
love that
perfect
they have
sense.
obfuscate now. You can cause so much trouble with invisibility.
In 2018, when V5 first came out, we had switched from V20 to V5,
hmm
and I had a friend who loved the Ravnos,
hmm
and he was playing a Ravnos character at the time. So with some work around, we I don't believe it was for my game. It was for one of our friends' other games. He uh, he worked out. We kind of as a group like all kind of threw together and worked out uh, chemistry or chimeristry, however you want to say it,
Yeah.
with obfuscate and fortitude,
Okay.
where you had to have fortify the inner facade or like where we were like you had to have like the mental fortitude to then force out
Your illusions
your
through
illusions and
obfuscate.
give them substance and give them substance,
Okay.
which I think makes perfectly good sense
Okay.
because one of the number one factors about Zapathasura and why it is called the Week of Nightmares
Was his like ridiculous
was
amount of
his
fortitude.
ridiculous mastery of the discipline of fortitude
But
that was so potent that he was able to tank a sunbeam laser
seven.
focused by mages
The power of seven
for
suns.
3 days and nights.
I'm getting lectured on the Week of Nightmares.
I'm not lecturing you. I am expressing my
There is
frustration.
absolutely no reason why a third generation vampire of any clan isn't going to have that mastery of fortitude.
But it was innate in the Ravnos of prior
It
editions.
was innate in the Ravno of prior editions, but you cannot tell me that the Toreador Antediluvian is not running around out there with like master level fortitude. You cannot
Well,
tell me that's not
no,
happening.
she's their third generation.
Exactly. So
They
what's
were
the problem?
they were. Well, the problem is the rest of the clan doesn't have fortitude.
So take the proper
So
predator type and you can have fortitude.
yes, I'm aware of this. I'm not saying presence doesn't make sense. I'm just
I think it makes sense because I see the Ravno as massively seductive and sexy. Sexy as hell.
yes, I agree. I completely agree. But also, I like fortitude, and
I
it
like
was because I
fortitude
mean they
too.
were the well, no. So that's the thing is right. Like mechanics aside,
Uh huh.
they were seen as like a hardy nomadic people, very similar to the Gangrel.
Yes, they were.
And so, like a large swath of their prior like their non-problematic themes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The part of their themes that I didn't find as problematic or insensitive, and that I kind of attached to in older editions was that they were a hardy nomadic people, and like one of the big kind of like vampire things, opinions was like, you dread a Ravnos rolling into your area
Uh huh.
because you're not going to be able to kill them. They're going to be able
Well,
to sustain
you
themselves without.
dread, like in the old systems, you dread a Ravno walking into your territory because if a Ravno walks in and you tell them to leave, all of the Ravno are coming to your territory at that point. That was the whole point
Right.
of Clan Ravno and why they were so feared. Because it just like threw your entire city out the damn window. There was just no recovering from that.
Yeah.
I don't really think fortitude has anything to do with it. I actually I don't care I don't care if the clans were just like I don't care if the disciplines were just thrown out the window. I like the essence of the clan and who they are, and yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't bother me when people. I got so many emails and so many comments of, "Ooh, you must be so pissed off that the Zamitzi don't have Auspex anymore." And I was
No.
like, I think Auspex really does fit the clan, but I don't freaking care. Like, because it's all about the attitude. It's the way you play the clan, not the disciplines that you have or don't have. But like, I think the biggest anger, and I'm actually kind of surprised to hear you talk about fortitude being like something that you don't like, the fact that they don't have anymore. But like the fact that chemistry itself is not a pure discipline, that it's a set of amalgams, is what I get the
What?
most complaints about.
See, I think that's silly to complain about that because it makes perfect sense. Chemistry, chimistry, and obfuscate were so similar, anyways,
Yeah,
in the realms of what you could do with them. That it to me it makes perfect
yeah.
sense,
I
right?
actually am
And the
not a.
idea the idea of them being alluring and charming, and they can push their mental illusions out with the very presence of them
Mhm.
being there. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I like it as well. So when I was being dramatic when I said I loathe it, but it
It
was
was
one of those
nice
where I
though.
was kind of disappointed. It was nice.
It was nice.
I was just disappointed. I'm like, oh, like this is one of the big factors to me. That was one of like the defining traits of the clan
Yeah. I
is that they were hardy and they could go anywhere and they could live anywhere. And like, when you look at the Gangrel and you're like, okay, they have fortitude and animalism, they can survive in werewolf country just fine.
I see Gangrel with fortitude makes perfect sense. They are like you say, they are
One
hardy.
million
They
percent.
are travelers. They are going to have to survive the hard roads. I kind of see presence being a good change in the direction of the Ravno because I can see them using their presence to seduce their ways into survival, like getting people to help them, and like even in the older editions that they don't use anymore, the idea that they are traveling with caravans and stuff like that, being able to interact with those people on a way where they want to help you. I can see that being a big thing for the Ravno.
Yeah, I guess when you look at it like that, like you might actually change my like help me kind of evolve my perspective on that. Thinking like as you're talking, I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, no, the gangrel were more of like the nomadic kind of barbarian people, where
Hmm.
like they had to be hardy and tough. You
Yeah,
know, they
they're
roamed
dealing
through
with
and took what they wanted
exposure.
and moved on. Yeah,
They're
but the
dealing with
Ravnos
yeah.
are they were the more social of the nomads. Like
Hmm.
they rolled through, like you said, in caravans. And it also kind of lends itself a little bit to that idea of like the the superstition around nomads.
Yeah.
In the older in earlier years was that like you wanted to be careful with nomads because they might charm you or hex you, or
Yeah.
curse you in some capacity. So I'll relent to my frustration with them not having fortitude anymore. But yeah, you make a good point.
I think that I like the amalgam chemistry more than I like the old 5 levels of base chemistry plus whatever elder and stuff. I like the amalgam version better because I always felt that chemistry above all other disciplines was a step discipline. It was I'm going to buy level 1 because I want level 2. I'm going to buy level 2 because
Yeah,
I want level 3. And then I'm never going to use level 1 again. I'm never going to use level
yeah.
2 again. It was just one of those things where your illusions get better as they go, so why would you step down? And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people arguing in the comments going, oh no, I use level 1 all the time and I have like level 7 right now. Like, and yes, there are going to be those people who are like actually stopping and calculating this process costs less and I only need this. Absolutely true. I'm not going to argue with that. But I can see the majority of the people going, well, I've got level 5. Why the hell would I use 1 through 4? Like, ever
Well,
again.
I
Like,
mean
I
that
kind
does
of miss Hort.
that I was gonna say, yeah, that comes down to like a mechanical resource management.
Yeah.
Right. So like the 1 point was I think free or 1 blood point. The second point was 2 blood points. The third point was 3 blood points.
Yeah.
The fourth point was like a willpower and a blood point. And then the
Now, I miss
fifth one
Horrid
was like
Reality, don't get me wrong. I think that was
I was
amazing.
gonna say I think Horde Reality. I have a homebrew for Horde Reality. It's a
Mhm.
fifth level obfuscate power that requires Fatal Morgana.
Mhm.
Um, I think it deserved. I think Chimeristry deserved the same treatment that Vicissitude got. That it was 3 powers.
Yeah. I
Um,
can definitely
I
agree with you
think
on that.
that I think that the essence of Horde Reality, the very power of it,
Mhm.
fits so much better in as a mechanic in fifth edition than it ever did in any other prior edition
Yeah.
because you actually have a tracker of willpower. It's not just a bar of willpower. It is actually a tracker that you can take damage to.
Yes. No, I agree. I
And
agree with you on
with
that one.
Horde Reality, it's one of those where it's like with Horde Reality, you can deal, unhalved or well, I think in the Mulcavian video I said Demontation should have been unhalved superficial damage
Yeah.
for social combat, where you end up when you get impaired, regardless of whether it's aggravated or not, you get to give them a compulsion. I think Horde Reality should be like the equivalent of the Fist of Cain
Mhm.
for willpower, in that when your illusions cause harm
They cause like aggravated
and
willpower or something.
they cause aggravated willpower because it's straining it's so real that it like if you fully hit somebody with aggravated damage in their willpower tracker, they could fall into torpor
Yeah.
like they had sustained health damage.
I
Um,
completely
and
agree
now
and
obviously you would still never be able to actually kill them with it, right?
yeah.
But like That is
Well,
such a fan
you can definitely
concept
cause
for
some
a power.
severe damage with willpower
I mean, you
damage. Like that
torpor,
is for
you
sure.
put them in torpor, and then you fill their bar full of aggravated willpower damage, and
Hmm.
then if you permit that part of the mechanic for them to actually be torpored as if they had been fully sustained health damage
Yeah.
in the same way, um, then it would be one of those where um, you just kill them after they've fallen comatose for a little while.
Yeah.
Or like temporary. It'd be like a temporary torpor, but I mean, no different than like Bale's Caress from Blood Sorcery.
Hmm.
Where if they the next time they go to sleep, they fall into torpor like legitimately. This would be like they fall into torpor for a scene or for a night,
Yeah.
or whatever.
I think that we still might see something like Horrid Reality pop up in a later book.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't think that that is a discipline that is going to. I think there's a handful of disciplines that we have not seen yet that they are probably still working out the details on that are just so iconic that you cannot get rid of them. Like, I do not see us getting rid of Horrid Reality. I do not see us getting rid of Death in the Drum. Like, these are powers that I do see coming back at some point in time. Shepherd's Watch for the Salubri. Like, I don't see those classic disciplines that, like, just scream the name of the clan disappearing. I just think they're trying to work them out so they fit in V5 well. But that's just my personal opinion. And hopefully, if anybody in World of Darkness actually watches these, they will pretend like they've been working on it the whole time.
Yes, and just give
Just
us
take
Horde
the credit.
Reality.
Just take the credit for it. Just do it.
We'll give you the credit if we get Horde Reality. It's
We don't
fine.
care who came up with the idea. We just want
Uh,
it out there.
yeah. So I have a similar opinion of like Temporis,
Uh huh.
right? And we talked about that in the Bruja episode, but like
I still
what?
think celerity plus dominate equals temporis.
Yeah, as much as I hate to give Dominate any more amalgams,
I think it's
I
kind of
can't.
the backbone to a lot of amalgams. Like it
Yeah,
makes sense, and I think the
well,
true Bruja having dominate over presence makes a lot more sense because it's just a more
it does make a lot
forceful.
more.
Yeah, it's a more forceful thing.
I think that no, I was just gonna say to finish up my thoughts
Yeah.
on that. I think that Horde Reality makes perfect sense in fifth edition. I
Hmm.
think it's a shame that we didn't get it, and like fingers crossed, maybe we'll get it in a future.
Well, until it's out, house rules.
Yeah,
Nothing
I
stops
think
us from writing our
I
own
think it would
stuff.
be really cool of the World of Darkness if they did something like the Companion again,
Hmm.
but with just updated disciplines.
That would be nice.
That would be so cool.
That would be really nice. I will say, like, I'm not going to complain about the fact that they gave us like a free book with a whole bunch of stuff in it. Like, even if it
Oh
was
yeah,
just
no,
a stepping stone to the player's guide, and
yeah.
like good stuff, good stuff. So, aside from disciplines, we also have an updated Bane for Clan Ravno. They don't have the clan weakness of like having a signature crime because obviously that
Hmm.
was problematic.
Very
That was
very
a rather
problematic.
problematic thing. But now the poor damn Ravno, the Ravno are doomed. I love the fact that it just says that straight out in the book. The Ravno are
Yeah,
doomed.
I think that this is probably one of the coolest examples of using mechanics to represent a massive narrative change
Hmm.
that took place.
And that's actually something that I want to get at when I discuss the Bane here. Is that it says that the sun's fire that incinerated their founders rages through the blood of the clan, erupting from the very flesh if they ever settle down for too long. I have had so many people tell me that no, the week of nightmares was retconned. It never happened.
No, it
My
wasn't.
ass, this Bane specifically is talking about how the week of nightmares happened.
You don't even need this Bane to say it. There's a whole lore sheet around it.
Yeah, there's an entire lore sheet
The
around it
fifth dot, the fifth dot of the lore sheet literally says you have a vial of the
of
sentient
Zapathur's blood.
blood of
Yeah.
Zapathasura after he died.
Yep. Anyway, it just it annoys me because people are like, "Oh, that never happened." I'm like, "Dude, there's so much in the core book that talks about it." Yes, it did happen.
It
Anyway,
absolutely happens.
so the whole thing is on their lore sheet that if they sleep in the same place more than once in 7 nights, they roll a number of dice equal to their bane severity, and they receive aggravated damage equal to the number of tens critical rolls, as they are scorched from within. So they actually like burst into flames if they stay in one place too long. So they are forced to be nomadic. They are forced to move around.
I really like this.
It's such an interesting thing. Now, also, uh, it goes on to say that like Ravno can't have the no haven flaw on their character sheet because it's
Oh, I
basically
didn't know
just
that.
it's just a given.
Hmm.
It's a very interesting thing. I mean, you can do like mobile havens and stuff like that to stay on the move. The Ravno that we had in our game in Thicker Than Water for the longest time, Dawn, uh,
Hmm.
she she had like she had RVs posted all over town, so she could just like
Yeah.
hop in one and go at a moment's notice. But it's a hell of a it's brutal. It's that's a brutal bane.
I mean, yeah, it is brutal in practicality, but I still love, I just laugh my butt off at the idea of just hopping in a Winnebago and not suffering from anything ever again.
Yeah.
Just the Ravnos who drives around in a Winnebago just cracks me up.
Well, it's kind of hard when you consider the idea that most games take place in one city.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, cities are big, though.
Oh, I was
I
gonna
want
say,
to
yeah.
point that out. If anybody like something that I've come into doing recently is I typically have a Google Maps opened to the city that I'm running the
Hmm.
game in, and that'll just show you like it's you need to move like as a Ravno, and I think it's like it has to be like within what is it like a mile they have to be away from.
Yes, it is a mile.
Is it a mile?
They have to be more than a
Yeah,
mile.
yeah,
It's a
yeah. Here
mile,
it
yeah.
is. Here it is. Yeah. So like if you're moving within a mile, like that's not that far. Like my house down to the end of the street is half a mile. That's not a long walk, you know? So like
No, it's really not.
your character could literally just go, and I'm sleeping here tonight, and then I'm going to go a mile down the road, and then I'm going to go a mile down the road. It is something daunting, and if you get caught anywhere, you're screwed. Like that is absolutely true, but it is something that's easy to avoid when you're not being like completely dominated by like horrible aggressive plotline from your mean storyteller. You know?
Right. I I mean, this is kind of jumping ahead of a little bit, but I like the idea of a Ravnos who like who havens on like a river barge.
Uh-huh. That's a
So
good
you
one. A
can just,
houseboat.
yeah, yeah, you just have a houseboat,
I have a
you know,
friend who
or
lives on a houseboat, and she is a Ravno, 100%. I hadn't even
yeah,
considered that until just now.
yeah, like I mean, and even if you're in a place that's more not doesn't have like a river around it,
Hmm.
I think specifically of like Chicago,
Hmm.
um, you just have one of those little houseboats
Just like go around Lake
on the
Michigan.
pier. I just go around Lake Michigan and sleep every day, like
That's true.
at a different dock. Yeah.
That's true. I love that. Now we do have the alternate Bane, which is the unbirth name. This kind of brings thoughts of like Rumpelstiltskin to me. Like this is like a callback to the Ravno's original Fey heritage. When you really stop and think about it, it says that the Ravno vampires rely
Yeah.
on a single inviolable truth to anchor them as they ply their trade on the edge of the real, their name. Whatever they went by at the time of their embrace, the trickster take care into hiding it from anybody who knows their unbirthed name gains power over them. Anyone who speaks to a Ravno's unbirthed name to their face receives a bonus equal to the Ravno's bane severity to resist their disciplines, and the Ravno suffers an equal penalty to resist supernatural powers used by the name wielding opponent. So, wow, that's really neat. It's the whole idea that like there's a lot of power in a name.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a really cool concept.
Hmm.
I think I think that in an example where I know you're running Bloody Foundations
Yes.
and another Dark Ages game.
Yeah.
So I think that
I can't remember what it's called. It's something. It's about Mithras. Wow, I suck as a
yeah,
person.
something the Dark Sun.
Wow.
Um, but I think that what I would use this variant Bane for is pre Week of Nightmares Ravnos
Oh
clan
yeah, you
Bane.
think?
This
Uh,
is their non-problematic clan Bane.
in the shadow of the in the shadow of the dark sun
Yeah,
is the
that's the
name
one.
of that plot line. Yes, which
Um,
we are recording.
yeah,
I just haven't put anything up yet.
this is the pre Week of Nightmares clan Bane. I think
Okay.
that this makes perfect sense. If I was going to like, if you had asked me without knowing if I didn't know about this variant Bane, if you had asked me what is a vampire um trope, right, that the Ravnos could embody, or a supernatural trope that the Ravnos could have as a clan Bane pre Week of Nightmares,
Hmm.
I would have come up with something very similar to this, just off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good
so,
idea. I
but
really
as far
like
as
it.
I'm concerned, yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if I ever run a game that takes place before the Week of Nightmares, this is the official like Ravnos. This is what the Ravnos clan Bane was before the Week of Nightmares.
And it got replaced by the sun.
Yep.
That
After
sucks.
Zapathasura died, the weird ties that he had with true names,
Yeah. Did I
left the clan, and now they're running from his destruction.
did I ever tell you my plan on killing Dawn?
You didn't, and I'm ashamed of you that you would even think about having one. How dare you?
I
She was
did.
the greatest.
Okay, look. When I run an
She was
NPC,
gonna kill herself with Diablerie.
when right, when I run an NPC, I go full hog on what that character is doing. It's not personal, it's what the character wants. I have NPCs that want opposite things, and I go full force on everything. It's like playing chess with myself, really. It's really kind of weird. But I try to
Yeah,
win
I
no
get
matter
it.
what. So when I was playing Noah Masters, I originally was just so pissed off at Dawn and Sam, who were like the original coterie that Thicker Than Water like ended up growing off of when I brought it into fifth edition. What I
Right.
really wanted to do is Noah was obsessed with music, which you can ask any of the players from the Thicker Than Water table, and if you mention the song "Everybody Wants to Rule the World," you will see them cringe. I think I've damaged some people, but I wanted to take the song sung by the Dead South, um, "You Are My Sunshine," and I wanted to tie Sam and Dawn together with a Molotov cocktail between them and just wait for Dawn. And when she burst into flames, it would birth both of them into flames. That was the entire plan to kill those two.
That is honestly really cool.
As
It's a very dramatic
as they oh my
moment of
god,
revenge.
Noah's dramatic. It's all about the freaking theatrical
Oh yeah, yeah.
applications of things. But yeah, like the whole idea is while I was tying them up with like duct tape and chains and whatever, and putting the little Molotov cocktail between them as I like faced them and tied them together, I was going to be singing "You Are My Sunshine" by the Dead South,
That's
which
funny.
is
That's
seriously
funny.
one of the most haunting songs ever. I will put a link in the description of this video for that because holy crap, it's such a good song. Anyway, so
Now,
it was
in the
gonna be
top
awesome.
on the topic of Ravnos characters,
Mm.
if Serendipity is listening, Dawn is best girl. Bring her back, please. Okay, moving on. Dawn was honestly one of my favorite characters.
Dawn was everybody's favorite character in Thicker Than Water. Like, I'm
Her,
really
her,
surprised I didn't lose like a whole bunch of subscribers because Dawn stopped showing up.
Dawn and Damien were two of my favorite characters. But
I look, Damien couldn't be helped.
look,
Damien
I
couldn't
I
be helped.
think
He was killed by a player
I think
character. That was not my fault.
yeah, yeah, no.
I didn't
No, it
kill
had
him.
nothing to do. It had
I
nothing to do with the accusations of
I,
infernalism.
I staked him with a bar stool. I didn't use Fist of Cain on his head.
That's fair.
That was all Tinia.
Gosh dang it, Tinia.
All right. So moving on from the Banes, we have the Compulsion, which is tempting fate. I love this so
So good.
freaking much, and it fits this clan. The vampire is driven by their blood to court danger. Haunted as they are from their righteous fire burning its way up their lineage, why not? Holy crap. The next time the vampire is faced with a problem to solve, any attempt at the solution short of the most daring and dangerous incurs a 2 dice penalty. Suitably flashy and risky attempts can even merit bonus dice for this occasion. The Daredevil is free to convince any fellows to do things their way, but is just as likely to go it alone. The compulsion persists until the problem is solved or further attempts become impossible. So, like, you have to do things in the most dangerous way. And I love that.
I mean,
I really love it.
yeah, this is an awesome compulsion.
Hmm. I don't know why,
Um,
but the movie Kill Bill comes to mind. It's like, there are easier ways to do this. What are you
yeah,
doing? Oh my
you know,
god.
I haven't. I don't think I've done this since maybe the premiere video.
Okay.
But can we get a masterfully crafted in narrative example of what this looks like for a player
Oh,
who is maybe not who's maybe not for I mean, I understand if you're playing a Ravnos, you're prepared to be a ballsy like
yeah.
character, but
Okay.
like, what does this look like as a compulsion and not as the character?
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and say, like, there's a group of hunters. All right. And
Okay.
they have kidnapped a ghoul that belongs to, like, your coterie. And so the hunters are like, all right, we got a Renfield. Let's tie him up, and hopefully its master will come and we'll use him as bait and stuff like that. Where any normal vampire would walk in with obfuscate or try to just, I don't know. There's so many different safe ways to do this. This becomes a Mission Impossible heist for Clan Ravno. You know, it's like, oh, we can sneak in through the air ducts, and everybody's like, or the doors open. Like, if there's like, it's them over planning the worst ideas ever, in my opinion, and it leads to a lot of fun. Like, it really does. I know, like, Dawn has did some really ridiculous things in her day, um, but it takes things from, like, okay, we're going to do this and it's going to be clean and it's going to be simple, to, but yeah, what if I park whore up that side of the building, shimmy down the chimney, and, like, try to sneak in and untie them and then sneak them out without anybody knowing. Like, you've just complicated things. We could just go in there and take out the hunters. Why do you want to sneak them out? Like, there's no reason for that except for the fact that the compulsion is
So,
telling them to do it.
right. So let me ask this question. Do you think that this bane or this compulsion rather is I mean, like, do you think that the comedic Mission Impossible over planning, heist movie behavior is the only way
I
to
don't
for this
I
to
don't see
be
it as comedic. Like, I
portrayed?
I understand how it can be comedic, but, like, I
Right.
don't see it as comedic. I see it as this vampire, for one reason or another, and please take in everything that you can know about the history of the Ravno and
Hmm.
who they try to embrace. But this vampire, for some reason, has something to prove, regardless of how much trouble or how much danger it's going to put them and their coterie in. And that's really the
So
way that I see it. I see it as almost like a tragedy, but, like, if they can pull it off, it's just damn impressive.
I think I like the interpretation, it kind of using that scene that you laid out of it being like impulsive behavior,
Yeah.
right? So they're going along with the coteries plan to obfuscate everybody in,
Mhm.
and they're gonna systematically they're not even going to engage the hunters so that the hunters don't even see their faces.
Yeah.
They're just going to obfuscate in, through auspex, obfuscate celerity amongst the coterie, they're going to get the ghoul, and they're going to get out.
Yeah.
And the hunters are never going to know.
And then here comes Jerry.
But the Ravnos makes is just looking around, wanting to take in information, rolls a bestial failure,
Mm-hmm.
Starts suffering from this compulsion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't see anything, but they're convinced that these hunters have more information, or they suspect that these hunters have more information. So
Yeah.
now
We got
their
the goal out,
impulsive
and I
behavior.
kidnapped one of them. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Why did you
Why
do
would you do
that?
that? Or maybe the Ravno sees the rest of the coterie struggling, and they're like, "All right, impulsive behavior activate. I'm gonna go draw a distraction." And
Yeah.
then they put themselves in danger.
Well, what if they have to
Uh,
go from point A to point B, and it's going to take like an hour to get there if you go the long way, but it'll take 10 minutes if you cut through lupine infested forest?
yeah,
Like, there's so many things that are like, if we just hop in the car and drive really fast, the werewolves won't be able to catch us. Like, there's so many scenarios that can be so much worse if you just get that impulsive behavior.
yeah. I think the way I would roleplay this is whatever the very first thought was that came to my mind,
Yeah,
no matter
impulse
how well
control
thought out it
issues.
was. Yes, impulse control
I had a
issues. Whatever
very
the very first
short-lived
thought.
Malkavian that did have that.
Yeah, well, impulse control issues is something that would lead you to being short-lived as a kindred.
Well, I mean, he'll thaw out eventually.
He'll what?
He'll thaw out eventually.
Oh, but yeah, I think that's how I would roleplay it. Is like impulse control, where
Yeah,
like what if I'm suffering from this compulsion, whatever I think about doing, I'm doing it,
yeah, and that's
even
that's the
even
way
like
you should do it.
with zero forethought,
Yeah,
zero contemplation.
no,
I'm
don't put
just gonna
any
do the
thought into
very
it.
first.
Just go
Yeah,
cause problems.
just as soon as it comes into my like kind of, and I've heard people say that they're like I think it was you maybe played a Malkavian who had no internal monologue. So if they
Hmm.
thought it, they did it.
Yep, that's the
Right.
guy
So
that needs to thaw out.
oh, okay. Well, that's how
Well,
I would do. That's how I would take actions honestly, I could see playing, and this is a concept that I probably actually should play, considering how much I have a fondness for the comic book character, but a very Constantine
oh my
kind of
God,
person,
Constantine. Yeah, no, that's
where you're
that's
like,
that's my kid's favorite comic book
it's
character.
my favorite as well.
He loves him.
John Constantine, the Hellblazer comics are amazing.
Hmm.
He is a absolutely amazing character. But I would honestly probably attribute him to more of a Ravnos than a Tremere.
Oh hell yeah! No, he's a Ravno who got his hands on some blood sorcery. That's a bad mix, but it
Yes,
happened.
yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
No, John Constantine,
Um,
I think, is a wonderful, like classic, not Keanu Reeves. Actual
no, no,
John
no, no.
Constantine.
Actual John Constantine
Actual
from the
John
Hellblazer
Constantine,
comics.
the one who is based off of Sting or Billy Idol, and like just no forethought. He's gonna do
Well,
it. He's gonna get the job done, regardless of what happens to his soul in the process.
yeah, and I feel like I bring this up all the time, and you're probably really tired of hearing about it. But the character that I wrote, Jack,
Yeah.
he is based off of Constantine, and two of his disciplines are obfuscate and presence.
Nice.
Right. So I think it makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
that your Ravnos is the person who's going to do like under the compulsion, and I think this is really cool to see it kind of paralleled with Constantine, is he's going to do whatever it takes to get it done, no matter the consequences. It just so happens that the consequences tend to be worse for everyone around him than
Yeah.
himself.
Oh, hey, before we run into archetypes, there's
Okay.
something that I want to tell you.
Okay.
So, I was perusing YouTube.
Oh.
I was perusing YouTube and I found a video that was talking about the different like origins of Set. Since we
Mm-hmm.
just did Ministry, I feel bad that like I literally found this like the day after we recorded Ministry. Um, I found it where it said that Set was like banished or something. I can't remember the lead up, but like as he was a human, he wandered into a cave and came across a spirit that was or an entity. I'll say an entity because it wasn't a spirit, but he came across an entity that was very much the same idea as the Egyptian Sphinx. The idea that you have to like answer a riddle to get past it, kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, he did not answer the riddle well, and it attacked him and embraced him. And
Interesting.
in that story, Set is a third generation who was embraced by Enoya, the gangrel antediluvian, who is a second generation who was created by Lilith herself. Lilith being a first generation, the same as Cain.
A first generation?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lilith being okay, yeah.
Lilith being a first
Um,
generation, Enoya being her daughter and embraced by her, and then the gangrel antediluvian embraced Set. I freaking
See,
love that story very, very much.
I I am familiar with the Gangrel stories of like Lilith and
Mm-hmm.
Anoia being Lilith's daughter, but to my recollection, she was actually still embraced by Cain.
Well, she wouldn't have been. She
Um,
would have been embraced by like Zilla or something. But even if
maybe
she was embraced
either
by
or.
Cain, if she was embraced by Cain, that would still make her second gen, making Set third gen.
Yeah,
But like
which is well, there's the.
I have always said that freaking Set is a gangrel who started a cult in his own image.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Anyway,
With a grain of all my loving friends.
the reason why this popped up is because the idea of the kindred cult of personality that is the followers of Set.
Hmm.
Also, the idea that the Bali not being a clan but actually being a cult,
Hmm.
obfuscate and presence.
Yeah.
They mix together to create chemistry. And you
Yeah.
tell me what discipline mimics fear the void below as much as horrid reality could.
Yeah. And that's a really good point.
What if the Bali just
I
have
like the
Ravno
idea of
disciplines?
Bali. Well, I think the interesting idea is that maybe the Bali practice obfuscate and presence,
I think this
because
just reinforces my
what it
thought.
I mean, we're really getting in the rabbit hole down the rabbit
I'm
hole
just
into
saying
the
this
thick weeds,
enforces my thought. Never trust anything that has presence and obfuscate together.
and that is good advice.
Exactly.
Very good advice.
Because the Ravno
Which
have it,
one?
the Setites have
That
it, and the Bali have it.
and it, and the caitiff made by Silent, based
And the
off John Constantine, has it.
yes, who sounds like a
John
Ravno.
Constantine has obfuscate. Yeah, he sounds like based off of John Constantine has obfuscate and presence for
Oh,
sure.
completely agree. Okay, so you want to do archetypes? Sound like
Yeah,
fun?
sounds good.
Um,
Uh,
do
what
you
do we
have
got
any of
here?
these that you want to do, or do you just want me to run through them?
I think these are pretty cut and dry directly from the companion, so I don't think there's
I think
actually a
so
need
too.
for comparison this week.
Yeah, I don't think they did anything to change the Ravno, the Salubri, or the Zamitzi.
Which is good.
That is good. There's less to go through, and also that means that like since they pretty much just copy pasted everything out of the companion, that there's not going to be a lot of this is not an archetype. This is a character concept versus the other way around. You know.
Right, yes.
So
I'm all on board for that.
yeah. So first off, I want to
You
point
want to
out
do
that
one, then I'll do one?
yeah, sure. The first one that they have here is the Midnight Motorcycle Courier, which I am a huge fan of. I built a Ravno. I really wanted to play it. I actually built a Ravno to play in Exeter by night. Um, but like scheduling just didn't work out for me. I was unfortunately unable to play in it. But it says when the package absolutely needs to be delivered in one piece. On time and in the dead of night, the Midnight Motorcycle Courier is on the job. The courier isn't listed on any known website, but those of note, mortal and undead, have their number on speed dial. The courier knows which routes to take, and when the sect war flares up, whose palms to grease uh, when domains are to be crossed, and where to lay low when it all comes tumbling down. Above all, they have options. Playing the players of the city like a I have no idea what that what that
A
says.
concrete Yojimbo.
Oh, a
Yojimbo.
Yojimbo, yeah. Playing the city like a concrete Yojimbo. They nevertheless have a gassed up, unregistered cross country dirt bike ready just in case. I love the idea of the go between, and that's what this is to me. This is the character that is delivering messages in between the Camarilla and the Anarchs, in my opinion. Um, Obviously, you could go other ways about it, but that's what I see. What do you think?
Yes. So I had a Ventrue concept that was very similar to this,
Okay.
and I think that it started off as a Ventrue concept, as like a king of the road, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think that the concept is actually better realized as a Ravnos,
Hmm.
who is a blue collar shipping and like a shipping and merchant king,
Okay.
right? Like you run a shipping and courier. You know, you can take the what is it, the Pony Express lure sheet from the Chicago Folios,
Okay. Yeah.
and like you know your character could have resources and influence with transportation,
I like the
and you know
Goblin Road.
I haven't actually read
I
that one.
love the
I'm
Goblin
not a big
Road
Fae.
resource. Oh, it's more
Yeah.
like secret ways to pass through areas that you're typically not supposed to be in for currying stuff.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So
That
it's
those two lore sheets together would be really cool,
yeah.
actually. Um, but yeah, I think this is a concept I could actually see. Like, I know the one that it's the way it's described here is very like low end. You're just the middleman. You're the in betweener.
Yeah, but you've got
But I
like
think
bigger
I think
picture advice.
evolving. Yeah, I'm thinking like evolve the concept further into like you're like in the boardrooms with the Ventrue, like striking deals.
Well, this is where the concept of your ambition comes into play. You start off as the Midnight Motorcycle Courier, and then eventually you are the black market.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, that would be cool. I actually really want to play that.
something
It's
to
a
build
really
up
cool
to.
concept. Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
the next one, I think the next one is really cool, but it's not my favorite of the four. The operative for hire. The operative is a rare breed among rogues, discreet, professional, and above all trustworthy. They perform their mission according. What is? I can't read that word actually.
Which one? I was just letting you go. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, they perform their mission according to spec, whether it involves espionage, diplomacy, or the occasional assassination.
Hmm.
On payment, they disappear until called upon again. Everyone knows the operative works for all sides, but they're just too dang useful to move against. And besides, nobody wants them as an enemy.
Hmm.
Most keep the operative on a small retainer to guard against that risk. The operative likes it that way.
Yeah, it's kind of like
This is
a
your
hitman or a
yeah
mercenary.
yeah. This is the mercenary hitman Ravnos.
Yeah.
They're this is the I think of the Wolverine line. I'm really good at what I do, but what I do is not very good or very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is somebody who's like, well, I'm dead now.
Well,
What do I do with this?
this is the kind of situation where you make your target think that the bus stop is about 10 feet in front of where it actually is with chemistry,
Yep.
and then
Mm-hmm.
that bus just plows into them.
Yep.
Like, ugh,
Yeah, this is a really cool concept,
yeah.
personally.
That's a dangerous Ravno right there. That is a Ravno that is not fretting
Oh,
about getting their hands dirty.
absolutely.
Okay. Then we have the travel agent. It's so dumb. Just the name, not the concept. The concept's great, but travel agent. Seeing the world can be a daunting proposition for those who spontaneously combust in sunlight and have the scattered eyes of global intelligence looking for them. That's where the travel agent comes in, operating a discreet agency with contacts in the far corners of the globe. Nowhere is unreachable. Their clients know what they sign up for, and they're out of options anyway. Whether it means spending 13 days in a refrigerated truck trailer or playing the part of cargo raided by pirates from the Gulf of Guinea, The travel agent gets them to their own destination. The client might not be quite the same when they get there, but that is the risk they'll have to take. So that's interesting. I've actually had characters that do that kind of thing. I use Flyboy in Chicago
Yep.
for
Yeah,
that
that's a
kind of
good
thing,
concept.
but
Yep.
that turncoat thin blood is working for the SI anyway. So, but
Yeah. Spoiler alert. No, I think I want to. If I ever run another vampire story, I think I think a pivotal part to my setting will be the Ravnos, um, like travel agent.
mhm.
I think that's a really good concept for. I mean, you can have it as a player character. I think it's just more
It's a good
suited for a
NPC.
storytelling. It's
It's
a
a
great
it's a
NPC.
great NPC.
It's like, oh, I can get you wherever you need to go.
Hmm.
Can you afford it? Can you afford my price? And even if you can't afford it, do you trust it? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Well, I mean, with this, your character, the travel agent, has to have a clean reputation.
Yeah.
You know, there definitely should be some risks, and I'm not surprised if there is a little bit of blood in the ledger. But the idea that they do what they can do and they're the best at doing it is
Yeah,
going to
I
be
love the
important.
I've always been a big like fan of the concepts of like the neutral party,
Hmm.
right? They're not in the Camarilla, but they work with the Camarilla. They're not in the Anarchs, but they work with the Anarchs.
Yeah,
You know, they're not in the Sabbat, but as long as the Sabbat's not blowing up their haven or their businesses, they'll work with them too.
yeah,
You know, so the idea that just like I love the idea of the autarchus in a like very politically heavy domain, but nobody will move against them because they're just too useful
yeah.
to get rid of.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you got the antiquarian.
This is my favorite one.
Yeah, awesome. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
this is my favorite one. The Antiquarian. With a keen sense of history and eye for detail and personal reasons to seek out forgotten artifacts, the Antiquarian seems forever on the verge of another significant discovery. Sometimes these translate into personal gains, such as by selling artifacts to museums or private collectors. In other cases, though, the antiquarian specializes in unearthing items of distinct interest to Kindred, whether Bibelots exalting individual lineages or relics of import to the damned as a whole. If it's worth finding, the antiquarian can find it and dig it up, or at least convince you that it's what you're seeking.
Nice.
This to me, um, I think I'm trying to remember exactly around the time period that the companion came out.
Hmm.
I think it was actually sometime after the companion came out, or maybe it was right before. But um, the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland came out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I happened to I happened to watch it, and like it wasn't like a spectacular movie or anything, but it was a fun movie,
Yeah.
right? But I think it was like right after watching that movie, I was scrolling through my PDFs and I read this, and I'm
Hmm.
like, this is Nathan Drake. This is the character from Uncharted,
Yeah.
you know.
I can
And I'm
see
like,
that.
it's like the high, you know, the kind of the more white collar, um, the white collar Nathan Drake,
Hmm.
you know. But this could be such a fun concept
Yeah.
to play. And what to me, one of the characters that I've had that I've not been able to place in any clan up until this point since I wrote the character is kind of the wealthy like Mr. Worldwide kind of character where it's
Hmm.
like my haven is, you know, I have a haven here in the city. I have a haven in like 8 other cities. You know, my private jet can take me wherever I want to go, and I go wherever my fancy, you know, whatever city draws my interest at the time. Um, and I think this is a perfect business for that kind of like uh you know, inherited wealth kind of character who's like, what's he do? He's rich. What's he famous for? Just being rich. You
Yeah.
know, like that kind of character. I think fits the Ravnos super well, and the antiquarian feels um like the hobby or the pastime
Yeah.
of that character, and I love this concept.
You know, the Ravno are always thrown into low classes of society, also. They're always considered, regardless of whether or not they're seductive or they're successful at what they're doing, or they're troublemakers, or they're just trying to keep their heads down, they're always considered poor. And when I
Yeah.
hear the antiquarian, what I hear is the Ravno that has made it, the Ravno who has actually become successful in what they're doing. And I don't know, that gives me a little warm, fuzzy feeling inside, thinking
Right.
that some of them actually are not just fighting constantly, that they're not just surviving, they're I guess unliving their existence, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's something about the concept for me of the human who's just like, the mortal character who's just uber rich,
Yeah.
right? They've been rich their whole life, or maybe they weren't rich their whole life, but they made it and got rich somewhere along the way, whether it was like counting cards or whatever. They have the I forget what the story. They have like a Cinderella story, but with money instead of
Yeah.
romance, right? And they they have that rags to riches. That's what I was thinking of. They have the
Mm.
rags to riches story, and now they have 4 or 5 dots in resources. Like I would never play. Normally, would never play a character with 4 or 5 dots of resources,
Hmm.
except for this concept. I would absolutely
I
do
think
it.
it is always good to have a character in your game that has unlimited funds.
Yeah, but like I
I
think
don't think
having four and
everybody
five dots
should,
of
but yeah.
yeah, I think having 4 and 5 dots of resources is really boring in most games. But for this character specifically, there's something like I don't know. There's something just appealing about the character who's like money's not really an issue for me. I grew up poor. I'm now filthy rich, and I'll never want for anything ever again.
Yeah.
And I'll do like I'm not out to obtain anything. Like I'm just here to like interact with people that I enjoy interacting with.
Yeah.
And having that as a character in a vampire game would be honestly a lot of fun. It's like, why
That
are
does
you
sound fun
here dealing with all of this crap? And he's like, I
because
don't
I
know, I'm
don't
not doing
have
anything else.
anything else to do.
I don't really have anything else to do. And like there is something honestly very fun and appealing about that
Yeah.
makes me like I want to play it like right now. you know? Like I really like that concept.
Well,
And I think the Ravnos fit that concept better than any other clan,
the character
honestly.
that I'm most known for playing in like my local circles,
Hmm.
which happens to be my Darkness Emergent character sire. I embraced myself. Uh, um, that character, he's old. He's relatively old, and I realized that if I was going to play him, he had to have curiosity on his sheet. And he's a rather friendly. That's a weird thing to say, but he was a rather friendly elder Zamitzi, Sabat Bishop, who who um who just was like every night
What
was
was
like,
that?
what are those damn kids doing tonight? You know, like, what do you mean? What was that?
I was playing a joke on Sabat Bishop. Hold on, what was the last thing you said?
Yeah, he was a
He
Sabat.
likes he's curious? No, before that. It's like, oh, he's just a really friendly guy? No, not quite back that far. Yeah, I think that
Hey, I earned that bishopship. Uh, oh god,
I think
no,
that's pretty much it for the Ravnos in the books as of right
it
now,
is.
isn't it?
It is currently. Um, the more we read these archetypes,
Mm-hmm.
the more I really want to start a game where all of my NPCs are just built off the archetypes in the book.
That'd be really
You
fun.
know,
It's a
just
really I
like
think I said this in a video before, but that is such a good tip for
it's
storytellers.
such a great starter way of, and every once in a while I just want to take a step back and do the beginner thing again. And
Yeah.
it really is a great idea to just like, hey, here's the motorcycle courier Ravno. Like you build a character directly off of what that concept was, and you just flesh out your city like that. There's going to be a good damn amount of vampires in your city, probably like 3 to 5 of each clan.
Yeah. But
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 that's
you
not
you have
bad.
you have that's the thing is though is you don't just have it's not just a matter of we have 3 to 5 of every clan in the city because that would look really odd, quite
Hmm.
frankly. But you really make these concepts shine with how they relate to one another.
Yeah,
So the Midnight Motorcycle Courier, he's the newest of that lineage,
yeah.
right? Whereas the Antiquarian is the eldest
Hmm.
in the domain. And then you've got your travel agent and your operative for hire, or somewhere or I'd say your travel agent's probably older than your operative for hire.
Hmm.
And now you've got your Midnight Motorcycle Courier, and like he's got this lineage of Ravnos above him or her,
Yeah.
and there's just a lot of fun personal stories you could tell with doing a game like that. And
Absolutely. I think I
like
might just for fun start making character sheets. Like
I'm
this is probably going to happen.
all right. You're twisting my arm. You've convinced me
What do you mean? I've convinced you to do what?
to help. I can't stand listening to you bag. So it's I'll do it. I'll help.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that I don't have to beg. Uh, all right. So that's pretty much everything on Ravno. I'm sure we could go another couple hours just on the idea of
Oh
chemistry
yeah,
and stuff alone.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, but I think that rounds up pretty much everything we discussed. Like their bane, their compulsion, the different archetypes and stuff. Like the stuff that they're going through right now is just amazing. Like it is almost like a completely different clan. But again, it's
Yeah.
also much like the Tremere. It's a clan that has become a lot more approachable to play. And there's less chance that like the bigwigs of the city are just going to like kill on sight.
Yeah.
There's more reason to allow that kind of thing because you can use them. Like it makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense, and I'm glad where the Ravno are because they're a culturally safe to play
Yes.
and also respectful,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't. I'm straight out say this: they didn't whitewash their past.
Nope.
They led them into the future with a new concept. Which I'm sorry, when you have a mass extinction of a culture such as the Ravno did back in the Week of Nightmares, the newer ones are not going to be the same.
Yeah. No, you're completely right.
And I think is it the Week of Nightmares lore sheet that like level 1 or 2 says that Elder Ravno that like are the cultural Ravno?
I'd have to look at it again. I don't know if it's that Elder Ravno or that you just know like a small group of Ravnos that
Yeah.
survived.
There's Ravno that are your classic Ravno. So they're still there, but their children are branching out into all these different directions that
Mm-hmm.
take them out of like horrible cultural like stereotypes and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm really happy with the way the Ravno are in V5.
So I want to say this is kind of my final thoughts on the Ravnos,
Yeah.
and this kind of also can be said again for the Banu Hakim,
Hmm.
that they haven't exactly done what they did with Werewolf and been like, where this is not a continuation, it's a reimagination, like a
Yeah. Well,
re-envisioning of
Vampire
these
is a
things.
continuation. Werewolf's a revamp. It's like a complete like redo of the thing.
Yeah, it's a Werewolf is a new start, and they didn't do that with any of the vampire
Mm-mm.
clans. But the two clans that I feel like were kind of like reimagined were the Banu Hakim and the Ravnos.
Hmm.
And they reimagined them in a way that didn't like destroy everything that was there
Yeah,
in
no,
prior
it's
editions.
the next generation. They're just
Right.
not identical to their sires.
Right. And so I love, first of all, like I've said this a million times, I'll say it a million times more before I die. I love what 5th edition has done for making all of the clans more approachable,
Mm.
and more kind of universalizing them. I think the Ravnos, and like I started off not really caring about the Ravnos as a clan. I wasn't that like thrilled or excited about them when they came out for V5. Like they weren't really on my radar.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on, and I don't know what it is about here lately, but like I have been itching to play a Ravnos.
Mm.
Like I genuinely want to do. And then after listening to the scene for the Harrowings with Aisha, and like just how terrifying the powers of
Yeah.
illusion can really be. I'm like, I have to play a Ravnos next. Like it
I
has to be the next
oh
thing.
my
And
god.
I wish I hadn't opened my fat mouth for Silent, for Darkness Emergent, for the Malkavian, because honestly, I could see him being a Ravnos too.
Look, here's the thing. as much as I think it's hilarious of getting like the whole group, the whole community to pop up and go Malkavian, Malkavian, Malkavian. If you want to play a Ravno, play a Ravno. I'm gonna support you regardless of what clan you are anyway. And
Nah, it's
like
fine.
I want you to have fun, and I
I'm
want
gonna
you
have fun.
to yeah. But like
I've I've already turned my character sheet in for Darkness Emergent.
oh okay, Cheshire already has
I'm
it.
going
Yeah.
to I am going
Yeah.
to enjoy playing a Malkavian. I don't want you to think I'm not going to enjoy it.
Good, good.
I think that I think that it would also work really well for like my real world parallel.
Well,
Or
tell
my
you what,
world of greatness parallel.
my
But
my my Zamitzi has presence. So how about we teach
yeah,
your we teach your we teach your Malkavian presence, and we'll get you some chemistry.
let's go. No, I think Silent if Silent meets a Ravnos at Darkness Emergent and they're his speed of interaction, I could totally see him like codering up with one or two Ravnos and just being like, yeah, no, we make everybody feel like they're losing their mind. You make them feel like it, and I make it happen.
That's great. That's terrifying. The idea of a character that not only has chemistry
Also
but
has dementation.
dementation.
Hmm.
Oh my god. That brings me back to like the little Tailor of Prague who has like vicissitude and dementation. I was like,
Hmm.
ah, God,
I'm gonna
no.
warp your body and your mind. Yeah,
Yeah, that's terrifying.
but yeah, this has been a fun episode,
I
man.
think so too. I think that we covered
This
a
is
lot of really fun stuff, and the Ravno are kind of just overlooked a lot of the time.
that's kind of how they like it, to be
That
honest.
yeah, well, that's how they
You know what we
liked
didn't
it.
talk about?
What?
You know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about New York by Night, the official New York by Night live play show. Like actually put some light on the Ravnos clan
Oh, okay.
with Seraph and her sire.
That's very true. You know, I didn't get through New York by Night because like when that was coming out and stuff like that, like I feel like I watched everything that was out. Like didn't it like just not get the third season yet or something like that?
Yeah, they haven't got to season 3 yet. Don't really know
Okay.
what's going on with that,
I
but
was going to say I didn't watch it all, but no, I remember watching it all. At least what's
yeah,
out.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, if anybody knows, feel free to like throw us a comment or leave it as a comment if you don't put it in the live chat because
Yeah.
we may miss it.
Well,
But
there's been a lot going on. Like
oh,
in
absolutely,
the world of darkness in general. Like
yeah.
with all the different like conventions and events and like the updates to stuff that's coming out, I'm really not
And
surprised.
the rearranging of publishers and
Yeah.
IP and yeah, that kind of thing. But no, I'm excited to see what they have for the Ravnos going forward.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see what how Seraph's story, because actually Seraph was one of my favorite characters in New York by Night.
Yeah.
Her character and Ray the Gangrel were my two favorite
Ray
in
is
that
awesome.
game. Ray is a really cool
Ray is
Gangrel.
awesome. I enjoyed watching the Zamitzi get a chance on stage too. Getting to see
Yeah,
Alex Ward play Zamitzi was kind of fun.
they put the light on the Zamisi, they put the light on the Ravnos, the
Yep.
Lasombra.
Oh,
Um,
and next week, I'm sorry to change the subject a little bit. Next tapping the vein, we're putting the light on the Salubri.
yeah, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Man, can you believe we're almost done?
I know. We're gonna have to think of other
Well, just a vampire.
topics.
Well, we have plenty of
We have
topics.
plenty of topics. I still
We have
say
plenty of
we need
topics.
to have a good name for a tapping the vein equivalent for your channel, and we need to
Yeah.
do all the werewolf stuff on your channel.
I mean, getting into shoutouts, yeah, I already have a name for it.
Hmm.
I can spoil it now, or I can.
Neuter the dogs.
I'm gonna slap you. I will.
I'm in
I will.
Florida. You ain't
I
slapping
will.
shit.
I will buy a plane ticket yesterday. Like that's how serious I am about it. Um, no, so it's gonna be the the werewolf. So we can talk about this because we're going into wrapping up for the episode.
Actually, I think we should
Um,
do a co self promotion, given what's going on with us right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Do you wanna lead the like start us
Um.
off?
Okay. Well. As of The night as of last night from the taping. We're I'm just gonna put this out right here. We're taping this on May 18th. Saturday night. Um, is it Saturday? What day is it?
It's Saturday,
Is it?
as of this
Wow,
recording.
I'm an airhead. So yeah, we're recording this on Saturday. It will be out on Monday. So Friday night, Silent and I just kind of hung out, and Silent gave, like, in my opinion, our community like one of the best gifts ever, which is a new banner and a new look. And we are officially now Our World of Darkness presents Vampire the Masquerade, because Silent is. Do you want to give yours?
Our World of Darkness presents Werewolf the Apocalypse.
Yay! Yay!
We're moving forward into a collaborative community
Mm-hmm.
series of channels.
I'm so
So
excited. Oh
we're
my god,
so
I'm
we're
so excited.
our channels will be updating. Mine's up. My channel is up.
Mm-hmm.
People can go, and
Yep.
Maquette can leave that link to my channel in the
Oh yeah.
Discord.
You
I don't
guys
have
should
any.
definitely subscribe to Silent's lack of content channel.
Yes, I haven't posted anything yet, but I do think that it would be beautifully hilarious if I could get 1,000 subs before posting a video. I think that would be the funniest
That would
thing
be
ever.
funny. That would be funny. Also, I want to point this out to the community. I have seen some of the stuff that Silent is working on, and mind blowing cinematics. Just
I
freaking mind blowing.
thank you. I have been watching people edit videos for years as a pastime and a hobby, wishing I could do it myself. And now that I can,
It's so
Premiere
good.
perfectionism activated.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to collectively, we are the Our World of Darkness
Yep.
YouTube channels now.
Now I had a thought on that also.
Yeah,
I think that both of us should tackle Hunter from time to time.
I think that would be a fair
Until we
thing.
find somebody who actually wants to do it, but to be 100% honest, I seriously doubt Hunter gets as much love as Vampire and Werewolf.
Hmm.
But also, Hunter is something that antagonizes both
Yeah.
Werewolf and
Well,
Vampire.
Hunter is a game about a cell of hunters.
Hmm.
So it only makes sense that more than one person actually be involved in
Yeah.
the breakdown of that. As far as intentions for the werewolf channel goes, for my channel,
Hmm.
I have kind of spoiled a handful of what I was thinking as I was working with the community and trying to kind of figure out like what would be my where where do I want to put my attention at the beginning, because I do have a lot of stuff going on in my real world life,
Yeah.
and until I can like fully fund myself through my content creation and my creative consulting and all of this stuff that I really love doing, I'll have to kind of play it by ear as
Mm.
far as like how much time I can really devote into getting jump started.
Yeah.
But the I think the channel is going to start probably with some uploads as pertaining to the fundamentals of what werewolf is and what it's like through a narrative kind of
Yeah.
breakdown. So I want to do. I would like to be able to find the time to really devote to like some cinematic narrative experiences
Yeah.
that kind of introduce people who maybe have never played werewolf, or but also like kind of breathe some new life into the veteran werewolf players
Yeah.
who are going to be able to come listen in and hang out on the channel.
And
I'm thoroughly excited.
and as you play in some of the chronicles that I run, I will be playing in the chronicle that you're planning on running. So
Yes.
I'm excited
Yes.
about that. I am looking forward to getting my dog on and
I'm gonna slap him. I'm gonna slap him. So yeah, I guess we've talked about it a little bit in a prior episode when I
yeah,
wasn't like 100% convinced or confident that this is the path I was taking. Um, but I will be running a
do
Werewolf Fifth
it.
Edition Chronicle. I'm gonna dust off ye old dusty storyteller screen.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, I ordered my Werewolf storyteller screen today. So
I don't use them.
they're just nice to have. They're
I
really
have
fun to look
all the
at.
storyteller screens. I have a hunter storyteller screen, a werewolf storyteller screen, and a vampire storyteller screen. And I will say, as far as like things that you need on the screen, like the information on the inside, the hunter is the best one. The
I
hunter
mean,
has like everything you need to run a game just right there. Vampire, you're still like flipping through books. Werewolf, you're still flipping through books. Everything you need
yeah.
for a hunter's right there. But like, I don't know. I don't use the screens because I feel like it separates me from the game. Which I
Um,
understand is the point, but
yeah. They're a nice thing to just quickly reference.
yeah.
I don't put a lot of like I don't like live and die by the screen, you know.
Yeah.
But I think they're just nice to have. But yeah, so the story is going to be, I think right now what we're planning is a 5 episode or 5 session mini chronicle.
Yeah.
Maquette will be playing. We have a handful of other people, some of your patrons, some people who are just friends
Awesome.
that we've played with before. There will be some familiar voices in the cast of players. It is going to be a pretty mature game.
Hmm.
Like, I'm just throwing that out there ahead of time. Like, there are going to be a lot of mature themes and concepts that really, like, I think really capture like the highlights of Werewolf,
Yeah.
and then bring them in through the lens of the characters who are going to be the driving force of the story.
Hmm.
And I'm very excited. I have been no lifing relationship maps and world building and character writing, and I am stoked.
I'm glad to
So
hear it. I'm glad to hear it.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. So I mean, for the community, you guys have been great welcoming me onto Maquette's channel. I look forward to welcoming Maquette over onto my channel once we start getting some content up. I do have a Patreon, so I mean, I shameless promotions here. If you want to see me get content up faster, start hitting that Patreon. Because the sooner we can fund the channel, the
Yeah.
sooner I can do this full time and devote my
Dude, the
time
amount
watching
of
videos.
effort it actually takes to do this stuff,
Yeah.
like seriously, like the fact that we have such amazing people on the Patreon that I have
Oh
already,
man.
like you guys make it possible, but it's still a freaking struggle, you know, like like being able to take the time to do it.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the revelation that you gave me last night?
I don't know what revelation I gave you. I'm
You know,
happy
what do you
to
call it?
revisit it. What is it?
Just how awesome of a community we actually
Oh,
have
hell
with
yeah,
how well
man.
this series is doing, man.
This
Like,
community is freaking amazing. Yeah, I made while we were talking last night, I ended up pulling up like the YouTube like analytics and stuff like that and showing Silent how many views we have compared to some of the other similar content creators out there who have been around a lot longer. And the fact that you guys show us so much love
it's
and
insane.
it's encouraging. It gets us excited to keep
Oh,
doing this.
absolutely. I I I probably stared at the video playlist, the views on just the playlist of Tapping the Vein alone
Yeah.
for probably 30 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Cuz I just stopped paying attention. I'm like, when we had like 300, 400 like views on the Malkavian video, I'm like, "Oh, that's really good." And you
Hmm.
guys blew that to over 1,000 views. And I'm like,
Crazy. It's really
hold
crazy.
on a minute. I'm like, hold on a minute. I'm looking up, I'm searching other channels, and I'm looking for people that I subscribe to, that I watch, that I think are really good
Hmm.
creators, and like, to see the comparison is mind blowing. Um,
It's really
I
nice.
didn't, I guess I didn't realize how big Tapping the Vein had become, and I'm so happy that people are
Yeah.
are enjoying the series.
And we have
Uh,
two more clans
we
before we
do.
have to come up with another topic.
Well, I think there's still a lot of topics since
Oh
the
no,
new
there's a lot of topics.
yeah
Like
since
there's
the
events like the Week of Nightmares and shit like that. We
Yeah,
actually
and
should
like,
sit down and talk about.
I think one of the first concepts we have to talk about is the beast,
Yeah, like
because I've had
vampire in
some.
general. Yeah, the beast.
Yeah, I have had to, or I have not had to. I've gotten to have some very very great conversations with people in the Discord, And one of the topics that we recently went over was the beast
Hmm.
and the morality and psychology behind the beast and humanity and paths.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a perfect topic to go over. And we can, I think, with the path going forward. I mean, well, obviously we'll talk about it more to come, but I think having the ability to like break this series across the channels
Hmm.
and really just focus in on concepts for werewolf and vampire separately
Oh,
instead of making everybody like get a little bit of werewolf this week and a little bit of
yeah.
vampire next
I
week.
want to
We
get
can just
I want to get more werewolf stuff out, but there's just so much vampire stuff that I just haven't
oh yeah.
been able to do that.
Yeah. I think we could just do like topics and another one of the things we mentioned in the past was how to how we personally envision factions and political
Hmm.
put the political factions in vampire in our stories moving
Absolutely.
forward. That was another topic. So I think we'll definitely
So,
have plenty to talk about for tapping the vein.
so were you going to tell us the name for the werewolf version of Tapping the Vein?
Oh yeah. I think we're gonna call it Sparking the Rage.
Sparking the Rage.
Yep.
Nice.
The name for the chronicle, however, because I think the name is very important
Hmm.
to the story that I want to tell. The name for the chronicle, I'll have to wait for that to. I'm thinking about dropping the intro as a teaser at some point.
Nice. You
So
should do that.
yeah,
Seriously, that
the
intro.
intro. Thank you.
I've only seen portions of it, but it's so good. It's
I did
so
finish
good.
it after. I haven't finished it. I did finish syncing up the visuals last night. So
Nice. I'm excited.
it does slap pretty hard. So
I
uh,
love making opening cinematics for Chronicles and stuff like that. Like
so much fun.
you see what I did with Bloody Foundations.
Yeah, it was really good.
I love making those. I don't think I'm the best at it, but like there's a sense of accomplishment
Yeah.
when I watch the intro to a series. Like Tapping the Vein, I get so excited when I hear that like metallic synth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's not music that I would typically listen to.
Yeah.
Nothing
I
wrong with it. It's just not my style. But
I
I
wish
love it
I
for this show.
yeah, I wish someone could have seen my face the very first time I heard the Tapping the Vein intro because I was like my jaw just like plummeted through the floor.
it was it
I was
was
like
out of
that
my
is
comfort
so
zone, but
good.
it came out so
It
great.
was good, man. It was so
Came out
good.
so great.
But
All right.
yeah, I'm excited, man. We're probably got to wrap up because I know we're
Yeah.
pushing on, but
We're pushing on an
it's
hour and a
good to
half.
have these little it's good to have these little like, you know,
I like
little
the
after conversations
yeah, because
for
I
the
mean
community.
because these are not scripted events. These are two people
No.
hanging out and just talking about something. If anything, all we do is we give ourselves like a topic of discussion
Yeah.
and just do what we would do on a standard night anyway.
And then tangent
Except I'm
away
not
at our leisure.
except I'm not scrolling through like Facebook or anything or like
Yeah,
answering
yeah.
comments while we're doing it. All right, so
Um,
yes, that should probably be it. Aside from the
yeah.
fact that, just quick reminder, we are going to be in Chicago for the Darkness Emergent event from
Yes.
June 6th through 9th. I am looking forward to that. Silent, I'm pretty sure you're looking forward to that too.
I am
Um,
stupid happy and excited.
this is going to be the first time that we actually get to hang out in person,
Yeah, it's gonna be
and
great.
we are going to have a lot of fun. Um, I'm also looking forward, and I want to point this out here. This is pretty much a shout out. Um, they're doing a Nordic LARP,
Hmm.
and I have had the option, or opportunity, not option. I've had the opportunity of reading through the way things are going to work on it, and I've had my doubts when it comes to Nordic LARP with World of Darkness stuff. I am so freaking excited for this. This is going to be so much fun. Um, I don't know if the people who I'm not going to name names because I don't know who wants their names on what. Um,
Right.
but if the person who is making that LARP watches this video specifically, just freaking awesome. I love the way that it's done. I can't wait to see your vision like brought to life with your players. I cannot wait to be a part of that. So yeah. Anyway, Chicago. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see a lot of you guys there. Other than that, I am voivodemekhet,
And I am Silent Comedy.
and this has been Tapping the Vein, and two more clans to go before we have to
Yeah.
come up with other topics. Clan Salubri next.
Gonna get our third eye freaky on.
Gonna get our third eye freaky on. Awkward sunglasses time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get the sunglasses with the nose on them. You, like, wear 'em upside down.
You wear them upside down so that the
Yeah.
third eye is covered by the nose.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm a child. Anyway, go ahead and say your thing and we can get going.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed this episode, but I think now it is time to drop that sick outro.
All right. You have a good night. I will see you guys in the next video, and it's great hanging out with you as always, Silent.
Yep, thanks for having me, man.